I did a video about starting or finding your artist style a while ago, and I have a very small channel where people don't really know me for being an artist yet, and it did 43 views or 45 views, something crazy like that, where I was like, it's my most successful, and I know it sounds kind of dumb at this point, but it is for me my most successful video. But I want to go back, because when I did that video, I was thinking about only doing things that were popular. Now, when I have restarted this channel, I'm coming from a new place, or rather I'm coming from a more me place, a more authentic place. And the truth is that, let me move here for the more light. And the truth is that I don't think that it is true. Okay, so I'm one of those people who has been doing the same thing for a long time. I have a very specific style. My style might change slightly, and it might morph into something else, but I am very consistent with my style, and I'm very consistent with my subject. My subject is women. Particularly as a Black woman, it is Black womanhood, the celebration of Black womanhood, the joy that you find in womanhood in general, and then I translate that specifically to my experience. I have to say that if you're here to find a quick way to do something, if you're here to find like tips that will help you level up your work tomorrow or this year, or if you think that like you need absolutely the guidelines and the book on how to do it, I am the wrong person for you. I know it's gonna kill my click-through rate, but I don't want to waste your time, because I'm not gonna give you that type of advice. I'm gonna be like your older sister or like your friend who is telling you the truth. And the truth is that it takes a very long time to get your artist style. It takes a very long time for you to be able to find something that you not only like, that you create with pride, with joy from yourself. And the reason is that I am one of those people who believes that work is connected to who we are, how we've grown up, what we're feeling, what we've been through. And so when you go, I have to go back. My background is in art, and my background is in design. I actually learned to draw at fashion school. I love drawing classes. And there's one thing that we used to do in drawing classes, and it's to copy the work of other artists in order to learn how to create our own work. But the thing is that we were doing it specifically in the context of doing it for fashion design. So we would learn all about fabrics and hair and styles and poses, and that was like my favorite part of fashion design. That's when I realized, okay, I really, really love drawing, because I'd already been drawing for years before that, but I was intense on this, and this was at the college level before university. So I'm going through that, and we're copying, but we're copying specifically for fashion to present our work. And I was like, wow, this is amazing, because I get to see how somebody else did something, but it was still somebody else. Fast forward to my degree in landscape architecture, and we have to look at references, and we have to justify our projects by having references. So this is, I guess, a sort of critique a little bit on the educational system, and it never really sat right with my soul, because I believe that you can go look at references, but what happens most of the time is when you're learning, you have a tendency to just copy the references because you find that it's successful and you want it to be good again. I see this in everything. You see somebody do a video that works well, and then people do the same video, and nobody really has, there's no consequences to copying. And some years back, I think it's Austin Kleon, I don't remember, I think that's his name, Austin Kleon, did a book called Steal Like an Artist, and I was completely against it, because I think that the reason that we allow artists to steal is once they're known and we understand that they stole, it becomes accepted. But the thing is that, and also maybe that worked back in the days when the majority of the artists were European artists, or the ones that we know about, European artists that were all hanging out together, that were all in the same movement, that were all getting the same patrons. And so for them, they had the way for them to be creative was to look at what the other person was doing. But now I think that we're more evolved to know that you can look within yourself and work. And so I'm not saying that you cannot go and learn from other people. I'm not saying that you can't be inspired by other people. I'm not even saying that you can't even go and take from other people and then work on that skill and then, like in order to improve. I'm saying that what happens, why most people don't have a style or can't find their style, is because they're only looking with outside and not looking inside. So they're looking outwards and not inwards. And I'm one of those people who believes that work comes from within. Creativity comes from within. And you can't tell me anything else. I think that you sit your ass down and you think and you allow the muses to come into you and you allow yourself, your lived experience to inform the work, and you allow your likes and dislikes and your experience and love and hate and whatever it is to fuel the work. That's the place that I come from. So when I draw, I always say I draw from my heart, and I always say that like I allow the things to happen because this is again my own way of looking at it. But to that point, when I was starting on the path that I'm at right now, I had been drawing women for a very long time, and I went. My printer was of Greek descent, and I say this specifically because she was very proud of being of Greek descent. And she told me at one point, listen, I feel like you don't draw any black women. And I was like, what? What are you talking about? She's like, yeah, you don't have many black women in your art. And I looked at my work and I was like, she's crazy. And I looked at my work and I was like, wait a second, like, I don't. And I was so stuck on what I had learned in school. Also, like, who was buying from me at the time. I was living in Montreal. I was like looking at like white women around me, and I wasn't even representing what was inside of me. And the second that I changed that, the second that I was like, wait, why am I not representing me? Why am I not showing me? Why am I not showing my point of view? Why am I not showing my world? Then everything popped. And you could see it. You can see it in the artists that, I'm not going to say necessarily make it biggest, but I remember going to a Jeff Koons exhibit and reading the stories behind the work and understanding and really feeling like, yeah, like only he could have made that work, whether or not I loved it or I hated it. I'm not saying that all of it, but explaining his background, or like seeing his background and seeing like the one exhibit or the one collection that he had done, for instance, that was about his wife at the time, who was a porn star, and she was there, and like she was the main person that he was showing, or that he was representing. Or even we can go Basquiat was a black man, and so a lot of his work comes from his lived experience, like Keith Haring had to do with like street culture, or lived within the street culture. And so when he drew, or when he painted, or when he pulled out, I should say, in a sense, like anything related to street and breakdancing, like it makes sense. The work feels right. And I think that that's a difference. We live in a culture right now where a lot of people, all they do is copy. They copy without, in French it's scrupule, maybe it's scrupulous, scruple, I don't know. Anyway, without like feeling any type of guilt towards it. They just copy. And so, I'm not telling you to feel bad, but that's what it is. It's like when you have a photocopy, you can never have the original. You can never be the original. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't, again, copy, but copying in order to get better and then to find your style, because sometimes it's hard to just come out with things, versus copying, and that becomes your style. You're copying is your style. You're not going to find it. You're just not going to find it. And it doesn't help that we live in that culture right now where it's encouraged, where it's shown, where it's rewarded. The only way for you to get to the point where you want to get, not only by talking about your point of view or showing your point of view or moving in your point of view or living in your point of view, is to try and put in the reps. Malcolm Gladwell said 10,000 in I just forgot the name of the book. It's so crazy. But he said you need 10,000 reps in order to get to or 10,000 hours in order to become an expert in your field. I can guarantee that the time that I've drawn, even when I'm not drawn, because I've put in my 10,000 hours, even in these past years that I've been not so much drawing, I had a major mental and like artistic block. I was still drawing in my head, and when I came out with the drawings, even though I might have been rusty, I still had the skills. And that's what happens when you put in the reps. You're gonna have the skills. So you need the reps. You need to have your own artistic point of view. It doesn't matter, like, your point of view doesn't have to be something grandiose. It could be the fact that you grew up next to water. It could be the fact that you grew up on an island. It could be the fact that you that you love everything that has to do with orange, and it's like the color that really drives you in life. It could be the fact that you just love to party, and so everything that's like related to partying. It could be the fact that you're introverted and you create your own world. Like, it doesn't have to be something that's so like, oh my God. It's because we're chasing the careers of other people, and so we think that by doing the things that they're doing that we're going to get to place that they've gotten, not realizing that in everything in life it has to do with your lived experience. Like, I cannot have the same lived experience as someone who was an artist in the 1920s in France. I can't. In the same way that they will never have the same experiences that I am feeling today in Montreal in 2026. Impossible. So that would be my thing about finding your own style. You have to put in the reps. You have to start knowing yourself. Sorry, dude, but you're going to have to go within yourself. You're going to have to be like, what is it that I like? You're going to have to sit with yourself. You're going to have to create. You're going to have to create without worrying about mistakes, because there is no mistakes in creation. You just create. If you don't like it, throw it out. If you don't like it, erase it. If you don't like it, don't use it. But every time that you put it in, like, you put in the work, you get the work back. Nobody expects anyone to go and learn, like, to become a basketball player in one day. It's years and years and years and years. Nobody expects, like, for, I don't know, Serena to have become, like, we saw her play from the time that she was a kid until now. Like, you don't expect people to get to that level of just doing their work so well without the work, the actual work. And it could change. You know, Picasso had his style, but at the end of the day, he tried many different styles. He tried many different iterations of himself, of his work, but the mastery was there. And yeah, I'm talking about Picasso. I talked about Jeff Koons. I talked about Picasso. I could talk about, I don't know, Frida, who was so into herself and her as a subject and the idea of mortality as a subject. And she painted the hell out of some paintings, you know? We can talk about, like, I don't know, like, anyone who is into creation and who is into pushing themselves and creating the work that they need to create. I think that that's what is missing. This is the discourse that is missing. Like, how to find your work. Like, I see it so many times. How to find your style. And like, with 100,000 of views, yeah, sure, I could lie. But the truth is that how to find your style is to actually draw, to actually paint, to actually move, to actually write, to flip and do it. Like, just go and do it. I guarantee that if you are conscious about finding your style, you will find your style. These videos are clickbait. And I made one. I made a clickbait video. And this is not a clickbait video. This is an authentic video from someone who's had a long career and who has sold her work and who has had people love her work and who people have her work in their homes. And this is some of my work over the years. This is not even all of my work, but this is some of my work. And and who just loves women and who loves drawing and who wants everyone to have a creative outlet, or to be an artist, or to be a creative, or to be a designer, because I think that the world would be a better place if we all did something creative. So that is my take. If you have any, if you disagree with me and you ended up watching the whole video, please let me know. If you agree with me and if you have another take on it, please let me know in the comments. I really appreciate it. And if you like this video, like this video. All right. And if you're not subscribed to this video or to this channel, please subscribe to this channel, because I will be making more videos like this where I talk about my experience as an artist and how and what I think is missing. No, not even. I'll talk about my experience as an artist. Okay, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you soon.